Hey, this is Josh with Budget Mechanic. Today I'm going to be showing you how to remove and replace a universal joint. And I posted a video about this a while back where I did a truck driveline, replaced the universal joint on that, and we just used the tools I had laying around, hammer and 2x4s, and it worked, but it was a lot of work, took a long time. And so this video, I want to show you how you can do it using a tool that is specifically made for removing these, and it makes it so much easier. And best of all, it's free. Now I have already pulled the driveline out of this vehicle because I just want to work on removing and installing this universal joint. If you are interested in seeing the process of pulling a driveline out, you can check out the video we posted earlier up here. Again, drivelines and universal joints pretty similar between models. It's just going to depend a little bit on the layout of your vehicle. But let's get started on this joint. You are going to need a U-joint puller. And this thing is like 170 bucks, but a lot of the big auto parts stores will rent you one for free with a deposit. You just take it back when you're done. Okay, so here's my driveline. This is where it attaches to my differential in the back. And my universal joint is right in here, that cross. First thing I gotta do is go around all 4 points and pull the retaining clip out. And work it out. Not a bad idea to wear some safety glasses for this because sometimes they like to fly around. That's holding them in. Next thing you're going to want to do is spray some penetrating oil on the ends of each of the 4 points so that they like to slide out a little easier. Let that soak in a bit. Essentially what I'm going to be using for removal is going to be this piece and the threaded bit. So I'm going to thread the shaft in here. This end is going to push on one end of the cap this way, and this side is going to hold on the actual drive shaft and allow the cap on the other side to press out through. So I have an impact that has the appropriate socket to drive this, which just makes it a little bit easier. You can use a wrench if you wanted to. If you didn't have the impact, you should put a wrench on it and twist it. Just takes a little bit more muscle. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll get it close and then finish it off with a wrench so that I don't drive the universal joint into the inside of the drive shaft too hard. So you just go until you feel a bunch of resistance and then back it off and we'll see what we did. Just use some channel locks. I'm gonna put this in here just to give it some outward pressure. There we go. That cap is off. Now usually this end will also pop into the inside of the drive shaft, so I might need to go a little bit more. So oftentimes these just pop out, but this one's actually a little tighter fit, so I'm going to need to give it a little more persuasion. So now I've got it out of the main drive shaft. Just have to pop this angle out. And that came out nice and easy, like that one was supposed to. So when you're pulling these joints apart, you don't have to worry too much about scoring the outside of the caps or losing the little needle bearings from inside. Obviously you're going to throw everything away, and the new ones are going to come with all new bits. But when you're installing the new ones, the new caps, you are going to have to pull them off the joint to get them in, and you just want to make sure you don't dislodge any of those needle bearings inside. They should be packed well with grease, but you just want to be careful. And that was the one limitation to the hammering method we did last time. We just had to be really careful that we didn't dislodge any bearings that would fall down inside the cup and get all mangled. Just want to make sure it's nice and clean where the caps are going to be pressed in. And then what I also want to make sure is that there's no burrs. Like the edges right here have these little burrs from the shoulder of the joint hitting a little bit. I'm going to take a little file, a little round file. You could use a piece of sandpaper on a round stick or a 3/8 socket extension or something. And you just want to kind of file those little high points down. When I'm filing this, I'm making sure I don't set the file flat so that I'm scoring the inner surface. I'm just angling it so that it just takes a little bit off the inside edge. Again, make sure it's nice and clean. It'll just make it so much easier for those caps to slide in. Before you put the new one in, you just want to make sure that all the caps spin freely and smoothly. Like they can be stiff, but they need to be smooth. There shouldn't be any like grinding or bumps or anything in it. The other thing I want to do before I put it in is put a really thin coating of grease or some thick oil on all the caps. That's just going to help us get them to slide in a little bit easier. Doesn't have to be much at all. Pull one of the caps off nice and gently. Again, I don't want to dislodge any of those bearings in there. They got a nice coating of grease, or they should. I don't want to lose them, so I'm going to be kind of gentle. So I'm going to stick this end in first, then line up the cap across the way here. And then I'm going to gently start this cap into the hole and make sure it kind of starts over the shaft. There we go. And I'm going to take a little break in the middle and just make sure that everything's still there. Like if any needle bearings have fallen in and now are getting bent inside, this is going to be all bound up, and I want to know that's happening, but this is feeling good. I'm going to put a retaining clip in now so that it doesn't go past that point. So you just want to make sure that clip is fully seated in the groove, and now I can continue to push until I bottom out on the inside of that. So I bottomed out against the retaining clip on this side, and I got lots of room here to put in the clip on the other side. So it looks like there's a little bit of space left on this side. I might have gone a little too far. So I'm just gonna flip this around and I'm gonna push right on the center of this clip using my wrench. And I'm just gonna shift the whole thing just a fraction. Just a little bit. Still turning smoothly. So we're halfway there. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that this side is clean as well. Make sure the grooves for the retaining clips are all clear of gunk. And I'm gonna feel the inside for any burrs. I got a little catch there. So because this space in here was pretty tight, I had to pop the old one out with a screwdriver. I know I'm not going to be able to lay it in the same way as I did with this angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pop both caps off. Push this cap in a little ways first. And I'm not going to use the impact because I don't want to rattle those bearings loose. Just making sure that it's going in straight. So I've brought this cap in enough so it's just starting to be flush with the inside surface. Before I drive it any more in, I want to make sure that I can get the joint in. And then I'll pull the joint into the cap to hold those bearings in place, and then I'm going to keep driving this cap in farther until I can get a retaining clip. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put this other side cap on. Now I want to make sure that my joint can freely go in between the two, that there's no binding. So I don't want to go too far. So I'm keeping an eye on the retaining clip channel, and as soon as that appears, I know I've gone far enough. So I'm just making sure everything rotates freely, and I'm good to go. New joint installed. All right, I hope this was helpful in getting your universal joint in for cheap. Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.